Hello Stampers! I've got a soothing little scene for you today, and we're going to be using a couple different stamp sets for this one. I like combining stamp sets sometimes. It just gives you more of a variety of things to use, of course. And we're going to be using the Nature's Print stamp set. This is a pretty stamp set that has a bunch of different foliage in it, some flowers. I love this stamp here. It's like a splotchy stamp. This is great for the backgrounds. I used it on my background panel here, and some beautiful sentiments. So we'll be using that, and then we're going to be using the bug from the Lighting the Way stamp set. I love these fireflies, and we're going to be using also this stamp here. You can use as a moon. So we're going to be using that. We're going to get going with our main panel here. Now I also did a coordinated envelope, and I'm going to show you that in a bit. So for our main panel here, I have a 2.5 by 5 1/4 basic white panel. All the dimensions for this card can be found down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see them all there, along with all the links to the products that I'm using today. So we're going to start with some Coastal Cabana ink and a blending brush. I'm going to blend this here at the top of the cardstock, and I'm going about halfway down. And then we're going to blend up, and we're going to leave about 1 inch of space between these two sections. So you can make it a little darker if you want. You want a nice good color here. If you want a nice vibrant card, you got to put a lot of ink on there. Okay, so we have that on. Then we're going to go a little darker, and we're going to use Lost Lagoon. This is a really pretty, like, blue-green. So we're going to put this at the top of the panel. Now I'm using a circular motion here, and I'm not going to cover all of that Coastal Cabana. I'm just doing about half of it. And then I'm going to put just a little bit at the bottom, not covering all of that Coastal Cabana there. There we go. That was Lost Lagoon. And now I'm going to go ahead and get out some Old Olive. And I'm going to use that fern stamp from the Nature's Print stamp set. And I'm going to stamp these ferns. And I have like the end of the fern like, oh, not even quite halfway in the white area here. And I'm going to stamp it by tilting this fern this way and that way. You can cross them over. You just want to get some coverage going all the way across the cardstock there. Then I'm going to flip this upside down. And where the stems end, I'm going to kind of line those up, but I don't have them touching. And there is our reflective side. Now it's not a true reflection, but nobody's going to notice it. Okay, and now I need a Post-it note. This is a 2.5 inch piece, so you could use a 3 inch, but all I have on hand right now is these larger Post-it notes that are 3 by 5. And I'm going to put this Post-it note right in the middle between those two sections, between the ferns on the bottom and the ferns on the top. And I'm going to blend some Old Olive in here using a blending brush. And I'm trying to leave a little of that white in there, above it. Little light area. Okay, there's the old olive. Now I'm going to bring in some pecan pie, and I'm going to blend it right along the Post-it note edge. There we go. I'm going to remove that Post-it note and I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to cover up the top there, and I'm leaving like a 1/16 of an inch showing for that pecan pie below the Post-it note there. That's so we don't get a ghost line. If you put that Post-it note right at the edge of that pecan pie, you're bound to have a little white line going through there, and we don't want that. So I have a 1/16 of an inch of that pecan pie showing below that Post-it note. So we're going to go back into the old olive here, and this is our lighter sides, or reflection side. So I'm going to do this a little lighter on this side. I got my old olive, and then we're going to repeat with that pecan pie there at the edge. There we go. That is for our reflective side. And I love this little dark line. It just really highlights where the ground is. And now I'm just going to take some of that Coastal Cabana and a blending brush, and I'm going to blend over that old olive and the pecan pie. And this is going to give it more of a water look, adding that little bit more of that green in there. Okay, so we have that in. Now we're going to add some of our little fireflies here, and again these come out of the Lighting the Way stamp set. I'm using the smallest little firefly, and I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black for this. I'm just going to stamp a few of these. Make sure you got them going upwards. There's one. I'm going to have one fly that way. And let's see, have one flying straight up. So there's our 3 little fireflies. Now I left room up here in the corner because I wanted to add like a moon. And I'm going to use my little circle shape, the largest circle in the Lighting the Way stamp set. And I'm going to use that as our little moon up here. You want to make sure you're not over stamping any of your images because that wouldn't look right. So we just have it up in the sky. And now I want a little bit of white in here for our water lines. So I'm going to add just some little scratchy marks in the top of the water here. Just going back and forth and barely touching down. I'm not doing any like wave lines. I just want them straight across, little dashes. And I'm doing this quickly so I don't get symmetrical. Every once in a while you need to like clean your pen off. There we go. And you can go right over those ferns because you know that's a reflection on the water. Then I'm going to add some dots on my tail end of each of these little bugs, just to really light the bottom up there. And there is our scene, all done. Okay, so we have our scene finished, and now we're going to start doing some other stamping here. I have a Pecan Pie card base here, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, and I folded in half to create my quarter card. So I have that, and I just want to add some of these splotches on it, and I'm going to use Pecan Pie ink for this. So it's tone on tone. Like I said, this is a great like background stamp And I'm only kind of adding it on the bottom 2/3, and I'm moving this around so it doesn't look like the same image over and over again. There's our little splotches on the background. So that is done. Then I have, this will be on the inside, and it's an old olive panel. And this panel is 4 by 5.25. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment on the inside here. I'm going to use that Memento Tuxedo Black for this. And I have the sentiment, and this is from the Nature's Print stamp set. It says, "Best wishes and happy thoughts." It's a pretty generic saying, and you can send it for so many different occasions. Just give it a little stamp here on the inside, and I like to stamp it before I attach my panel to the inside. If that was crooked or didn't stamp right, I could have had another chance and flipped it over. So that is done. So we're going to add that to the inside, and you can use whatever adhesive you want for that. I'm going to add some love inside there. So I'm just going to center this up in the inside of my card. There we go. And then for the outside of the card, I have a strip of Designer Series paper. Paper is the inked Botanicals 6 by 6, and I just used a little sliver of this, and this is a 1/2 inch by 5.5. And I thought it looked really too bright for what I wanted it for. See how I dulled it down here, but this is what it looks like if you didn't do that, which is kind of bright for this. So I decided to just add a little pecan pie to it. Don't be afraid to add some ink to your Designer Series paper just to get it to go a little better with whatever your scene is. So I'm just dulling that down with the pecan pie a little bit. Gives it kind of a yellowy brown look. But you can still see that pattern just fine. Okay, so we have that done. And I'm going to add my main panel to a panel of Old Olive. And this is 2 3/4 by 5.5. And so I'm going to center this up on here. And then add it to my card front. And I only have it like 1/4 of an inch from the right side, so we're offsetting this to the right. There we go. And then we have our strip here, and I'm going to adhere this to an Old Olive strip. And this Old Olive strip is 3/4 of an inch and then 5.5. This is a great way to use your Designer Series paper, just using a little piece of it just as a decoration. Sure makes that paper go pretty far. I mean, how many cards could you make with this being only a 1/2 inch wide? Baker's twine here. And I have this pack, it's Baker's Twine Essentials, and it has this crumb cake color. So I'm leaving a long tail on here, and I'm going to wrap this around a few times. Leaving that long tail. I think I'm going around 4 times. Then I'm going to leave another long tail. Now I'm just going to give this a good tie in the center. Little knot. There we go. Then I'm going to get my knot going the right way here. And I want some long ends on this. I think it looks cute because it's kind of curly. There we go. Then we're going to just adhere this to our card. And I'm going to adhere it over here to the left side, and I've got about 1/4 of an inch on the left side showing of that card base. I'm just going to turn this over and give it a good rub once I have it in place so it adheres well. And looky there, we have our card all finished for today. So it turned out really cute. Here's the inside. And then for our matching envelope, I have an envelope here. This is just a basic white envelope. It's a medium size. And I went ahead and I blended some of that Lost Lagoon at the top of it while it was closed. So I blended that on there, and then I opened it up, stamped my leaves on there, and then I just blended some pecan pie at the bottom. And that's all there was to it to have this great matching envelope. So I think they go together so well, of course, using the same design. And there you have it, today's project. I hope you enjoyed this project and that you give it a go, and it's inspired you to get those inks out. Thanks for joining me today. Toodles!